Hello, music fans. I'm going to say some F words today. No, not that F word. I'm talking about my favorite bands that start with the letter F. My favorite band that starts with the letter F is the Foo Fighters. They're an alternative rock band, one of the biggest rock bands of our times. Dave Grohl was the drummer of Nirvana and then went on to start this band. It started as a one-man project, and then he brought in some other musicians and turned it into a band, and they have lots of good variety. They mostly play in the alternative rock space. They have those grunge influences, hard rock. They can do soft songs, they can do hard songs. They have some almost like hardcore influence in some of their songs. He can actually scream, he can sing. Just really, really good, catchy songwriting. And my second favorite band that starts with the letter F is the Fall of Troy. And this is, Wikipedia calls it a mathcore band. I think it's more of they're a post-hardcore band. That's, I guess Wikipedia says mathcore, post-hardcore, math rock, progressive rock, screamo. That sounds about right. I'd say post-hardcore is their main sound. They've got some math rock influences, progressive rock and emo and screamo in there. Really crazy guitar playing, very kind of frantic. The singer is also the guitar player in this band, and it's kind of wild some of the things that he's able to play on the guitar while he's singing. He's pretty impressive in that way. Kind of like a Dave Mustaine of Megadeth. Some of the riffs that he plays when he sings, just mind-blowing. I'll give some honorable mentions now. Some other great bands that start with F. One of them is the Faceless. I did a ranking of the Faceless albums on my channel with my friend Will. So check that out if you want to hear what I think about all their albums. They started as more of a technical death metal band, and they evolved more towards progressive metal. They still kept the death metal influences in their sound the whole way through. They're great. I think they only have 4 albums. Yes, 4 albums. Hopefully they'll have some more coming soon. I do not know. I haven't heard what's in store for their future, but all their albums are pretty great. And the last one that I want to mention today is the band Fate's Warning. I kind of have to mention them. They're a progressive metal band, potentially, arguably one of the founders of the progressive metal genre, as they started in 1982, before Dream Theater, before various other bands. Were they before Queensryche? I guess Queensryche formed in 1980, but it's kind of murky as to when progressive metal actually started. Queensryche and Fate's Warning both released their first albums in 1984, and they were slightly more towards the heavy metal side, like similar to like an Iron Maiden kind of new wave of British heavy metal sound with hints of influence from prog rock. So they kind of started progressive metal, and they got more and more into progressive metal as they went on with their careers. So there's no set time when progressive metal kind of started. It just phased in by these bands that would just be considered heavy metal or new wave of British heavy metal style, although these were American bands. I believe Fate's Warning and Queensryche are both American. They were influenced by the new wave of British heavy metal, but then they also liked prog rock bands, and they just started putting more and more proggy stuff into their metal songs until at some point it became progressive enough to call it progressive metal. And then Dream Theater really came along and popularized the genre. So those are the bands that I like that start with F. There's probably more, but I just wanted to keep the list nice and short today. And until next time, peace out. We'll talk about the letter G in the next video.